The person in the red raincoat, she had it in her hand. A stuffed cow, I can clearly see it now. Let's go with the moo. Moo. Oh, damn. These whack-ass motherfuckers. They all look like that, and then you have Cavell looking like herself. The 10 members, over a majority are present. I hereby call this hearing to order. Oh, I bet she didn't agree with what the committee was doing, so they offed her. That's exactly what's going on. We have gathered here today to assess the professional competency of Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Here in the sight of the goddess, we do solemnly swear to pass fair and frank judgment. Fair and frank? Don't make me laugh. Verity, if you would be so kind as to summarize the case against Mr. Edgeworth. On April 5th, despite having advised of the illegality of an investigation he was conducting, the accused refused to desist and eventually had to be detained by myself and Chairman Winter. His actions compromised the investigation into the murder of a certain defense attorney, and despite having been presented with copious evidence of her guilt, he continues to insist that the suspect, one Kay Faraday, is innocent of all charges. Perhaps you can explain the details of the murder to us as well? Of course, on the morning of the 5th, the body of the victim was found here in the committee chamber. Further explanation will be provided by me, Eustace Winter, Premier Prosecutor. The floor is yours, Mr. Winter. The murder itself happened late on the night of the 4th. The victim was Miss Rosie Ringer. That same night, an illicit auction was being held here in this very room. Ringer took part in that auction, I think. Yeah. Meaning that the murder took place sometime during the auction. When she was found, Ringer was dressed in an outfit that matched the description of the auctioneers. However, due to the fact of the auction carried on after the murder had occurred, I deduced that Ringer was not in fact the auctioneer. You deduced nothing of the sort. And what about the basis on which suspect was detained, Mr. Winter? Yeah, I got this. So Faraday was overcome by crushing remorse, Eustace. Yeah, that. Tons of crushing remorse. So she confessed. According to her confession, she was on the roof of this building when she encountered a person in a red raincoat on the viewing platform. That person was Miss Ringer, I take it? Precisely, Mr. Chairman. The killer dressed the victim in the auctioneer's outfit after the fact. But at the time when she was killed, Miss Ringer was wearing a red raincoat. And who won the race to find that raincoat nearby? Me! That's who. Did you? I thought it was somebody from forensics. Strictly speaking, it was found by one of the forensic investigators under Mr. Winter's command. I knew it. The blood analysis on the coat showed that it was indeed Miss Ringer who had worn it. And the suspect's confession was the final nail in the coffin. She confirmed having committed the murder. So as you can see, Kay Faraday was the killer. There's no way anybody else could have done it. All right, Miles, I expect you have some objections. Let's get them out of the way, shall we? I have no objections, Chairman Winter. Well, now, is that so? I thought it would have taken more than a single night in detention to break you. No objections in the matter of my unauthorized investigation, that is. But in the matter of Miss Faraday's supposed guilt, I have plenty.
Overruled.
I can personally attest to the fact that Mr. Winter's investigation was fair and impartial. Of course it was. When it comes to carefully conducting ops, I'm the winner every time. You know, Miles, it's within my power to offer you a plea deal of sorts. If, and this is purely hypothetical, of course, you were to withdraw your objections, you might wake up tomorrow to find yourself the proud owner of a seat on this committee. Oh, so now we're trying to... Oh, now you're trying to bribe, huh? Oh, this music's getting crazy. So I ask you again, do you have any objections, Mr. Edgeworth? If you think you can buy my silence, think again. You will watch your mouth. Only the chairman watches his. I didn't come here to talk about commission seats. I came here to talk about the murder case. Come on, I clicked the button. I demand a statement under oath, and I won't rest until I have one. I want to know exactly what the committee's view on the incident is. You want to put us on trial, my boy? Very well, if it will make you happy. Verity, please provide Mr. Edgeworth with the materials pertaining to the case. Really? But sir, this will be his last hurrah, so let's humor him with the send-off of his desires. If you say so, Mr. Chairman. Nice. Give me my stuff back. You have no objections to Verity representing the committee, I assume? None whatsoever. Mr. Edgeworth, don't worry, Kay. Everything will be fine. You'll see. The committee's view of the case. Miss Ringer attended the auction as a potential buyer. The red raincoat was one of the items up for sale. So our assumption is that after winning and paying for it, she left the auction with her purchase. The only exit from the storeroom was, of course, the hatch leading up to the roof. After she emerged onto the viewing platform, that's when Miss Ringer was attacked by Miss Faraday. Shortly thereafter, her flame went out, and that concludes the committee's view of the case. The raincoat was on the offer that night? Is that really true? We believe so, yes. Remember the failed assassination attempt on the president of Zhengfa, I assume? The raincoat is a piece of evidence from that case. Oh, I completely forgot. It should, of course, have remained safely under lock and key in the appropriate facility. But inquiries revealed that it did not, in fact, go missing under mysterious circumstances. That it did, in fact. It wound up in the auction along with everything else. That makes sense, I suppose. Wonderful work, Verity. Just wonderful. Crystal clear as ever. You flatter me, sir. Nasty. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, perhaps you could save us all some time and simply admit defeat? I'll do no such thing, thank you very much. Very well. It's good to know that you still have some fight in you. It is? Why? Come to think of it, she said some strange things when she visited me this morning, too. What exactly is she up to? She wants out of the committee, Doug. Hold it! In other words, a member of the committee was actively involved in the illegal evidence trade. It is unfortunate. I don't know what else to say. And of course, we'll be looking into any such activities just as soon as this hearing is over and done with. I commend your decision to pursue the matter further, Mr. Chairman. Not that it's any of your business, Miles. Not anymore. If only you had remained a prosecutor, but you didn't. Now, if we're quite done making an old man cry over this whole sad affair. Very well, let me continue. She's a very intelligent lady. Hold it! And very good looking. So the raincoat really was one of the auction lots. That's correct. I believe it originally belonged to Mr. Shelley the Killer. Oh my god. Considering its status as a piece of evidence, it's the only logical conclusion. It's from when he made his attempt on the president's life? So it was him, bruh. That must have been what was on the mannequin. Do we know the items were being Do we know how the items were being smuggled in? That is still under investigation. It is entirely unrelated to the matter at hand. Especially considering that you will soon officially be a prosecutor no longer, Mr. Edgeworth. Sounds like the outcome of this hearing is a foregone conclusion. No surprises there. My personal circumstances aren't important right now. Please continue, Your Honor. As I was saying, the raincoat was one of the items up for sale. Why did she leave so soon after making her purchase? Because of the auction house rules. Winning bidders are expected to pay for the items immediately. His heart told us pretty much the same thing. Miss Ringer, having paid for the raincoat, probably left immediately afterwards in accordance with the rules. Miss Ringer was a member of the committee. Could she not have left the committee chamber via the main door? While the auction was still underway? That would risk exposing its existence to those outside the trusted circle of attendees. Given that Miss Hart found out about it, I think its existence is already well exposed. The rules of the auction stated that the attendees were to enter and leave via the hatch in the roof. Miss Ringer had no reason to follow those rules. And given where the murder took place, we know that she must have done so. Hold it! But why? What possible motive could Kay have had? That's exactly what we are hoping to establish in our upcoming interview with Miss Faraday. Coercive interrogation after the fact? Coercive interrogation after the fact? Something you seem to specialize in. If the murderer knew what the attendees would all be leaving via the hatch, then the roof would have been the perfect place to lie in wait. So I was saying, after she emerged onto the viewing platform, that's when Miss Ringer was attacked. Hold it! Her flame went out? The flame of her life, Mr. Edgeworth. Though perhaps her flame was stolen from her is more apt.
Objection!
But the candelabrum that extinguished her life was one of the auction lots, meaning Kay had no way of getting a hold of it to begin with.
Overruled.
Miss Faraday could not have lain in wait for the victim without knowing of the storeroom's existence, so she could have easily snuck down the ladder and stolen it while the auction was underway. If only we knew where the candle holder was during the auction. That would surely clear up the matter, no? Well, either of you? Sadly, we don't have anything that could tell us much of that front at the moment. Well, isn't that a shame, Miles, my boy? It seems this line of inquiry is something of a dead end then, isn't it? So the theory is that the victim and her killer met on the roof, and that's where the murder took place. In other words, it assumes the viewing platform was the scene of the crime. Is that really the case? I thought I had evidence that clearly shows the story of what happened that night. I'm gonna double check.
Objection!
Maybe you can clear something up for me, Judge Gavel. But what is Miss Hart doing here at this hearing? She's an eyewitness. I thought it'd be obvious. Well now, I ain't really an eyewitness, more of a ear witness, I guess. She's not exactly the most confidence-inspiring choice to help you make your case, is she? I like to think I choose my allies a little more carefully than you, Mr. Edgeworth. Then you should question them more thoroughly, because there's something that she hasn't told you. Take a look at this. It's a photo taken by Miss Hart. Yes? In the storeroom, correct? What of it? According to your theory, the murder occurred up on the roof. According to Miss Hart's testimony, she happened to witness the entire incident unfold in the storeroom, just before she took this picture. But wait, you're saying Gavel got it wrong. That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh, is Eustace gonna turn sides? Come on, Eustace. I believe in you, Eustace. What? I believe in you, Eustace. Miss Hart, if I may confirm your account of the events you witnessed that night, you saw the person in the picture, correct? I sure did, clear as day, and with my own 2 eyes to boot. And what were your impressions at that point? My impressions? This right here is the scoop of the century, something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. I was hoping for more of your impressions of the person in question. Oh, that there's a walking meal ticket? Seriously? Just my little joke. No need to look at me like I dud sound your lunch. Old red raincoat, right? Well, I took one look and thought that's our perp right there. And therein lies the rub. For Miss Hart to have thought such a thing means that the murder occurred. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, when will you learn to use your words? If it's an explanation of the facts that you require, you need only ask, you know. What do you mean? I assume you're about to raise the issue of the voices Miss Hart heard? Voices of that may be unrelated?
Objection!
Unrelated? You can do better than that. Was one of the voices Miss Hart heard really even Miss Ringer's? You're kidding me, right? Them folks was talking crime-related turkey, or my name ain't Lotta Danged Hart. Ah, but did you hear them clearly? Well, I can't rightly say for sure, but... God, I can't outrightly say nothing, and you know it. They was using voice changers. I done told y'all that. Precisely. Miss Hart heard voices, but those voices were disguised. Which means we cannot even be certain that whether she did overhear anything that had to do with the murder.
Objection!
You don't need to yell objection in order to sigh at me, Mr. Edgeworth. See, but he overestimated you, Judge Gavel. Nonsense. Verity's the best of us, my boy. The very best. And yeah, she believes that what Miss Hart heard might not have anything to do with the murder. Even supposing that that's the case, it doesn't prove the murder didn't happen in the storeroom. The incident happened before the victim was able to go up to the roof. Not much we can say for certain. I can tell you why.
Take that!
We initially thought that the person in the red raincoat was the culprit. Yes, because Miss Hart said as much. Indeed, she told us about the blood she saw in this person's hand. I doubt many people would have thought differently given her testimony. Ergo, if this person is the killer, then the blood we see would be from when they attacked the victim. But knowing what we know now, that this person is in fact the victim, it recontextualizes everything. Recontextualizes. The presence of the blood still shows that the picture was taken after the attack. But now it tells us something very important about the victim, too. This picture tells us that the victim, maybe, There's no doubt in my mind that the victim was attacked in the storeroom. But here we have a photographic evidence of her standing upright and alive, albeit with a bloody hand. This could only mean that Miss Ringer survived the attack. The blood on her hand is from the wound she had sustained. What are you talking about? Who dies from a hand wound? The wound wasn't on her hand, Mr. Winter. I imagine she used her hand to try and staunch a wound. That's right. It's impossible to tell from this angle. The victim was already mortally wounded here. Oh, well, that certainly would change things, wouldn't it? It very much would. Not least by making it absurd to suggest that Kay was the attacker. Her encounter with the victim after this picture had been taken, after the victim had already been attacked, was in critical condition. I put it to you that all Kay witnessed was the victim finally succumbing to her wounds. That would have been quite the coincidence. It's a textbook case of wrong place, wrong time, I'd say. You seem to be forgetting a rather important fact, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, that or pretending not to remember it. What? What fact am I forgetting? I think it's time to wrap things up, don't you, Verity? Put the boy out of his misery. Dad, Gavel works for me. Why do you keep giving her orders? That's my job. You really are a total and utter embarrassment. Damn. You know what? Fuck your dad, Eustace. Come here. Me and you against the world, Eustace. Am not. I hate to break it to you, but you both are. Go to it, Gavel. Put Edgeworth out of his misery. As you wish. Come on, Eustace. Come to our side, buddy. They don't deserve you. Miss Ringer's body was found with 3 wounds in his chest. And we all know what those wounds are from, don't we? That's right. They're from when she was stabbed in the chest by a 3-armed candelabrum. I doubt anybody could survive such grave wounds. If you care to read the coroner's report, I'm sure you would change your tune. Nicely done, Gavel. Now, Edgeworth will have to make several objections. Yes, I'm afraid I will. What? Why? Why weren't you listening? Oh, I was listening. Very carefully, in fact. Hence my objections. Come on, why do you always have to undermine me? That's never my intention, I assure you. It isn't? Because you do it so well to yourself every single time already. Of course it isn't. Yeah, I knew that, because I'm... Please, Eustace, just stop, for goodness sakes. You've already embarrassed me enough. Huh? What do you mean, Dad? Oh.
Hold it!
3 wounds. 3 wounds? That can't have been pleasant. Yes. Which is why we must see that the perpetrator of this cruel act pays for their sins. Don't listen to her, Kay. She's just trying to scare you. If we could please continue on, Judge Gavel. Very well. As I was saying, there were 3 wounds. I do, but perhaps we should ask Mr. Winter. He does, I'm sure. Don't you, Eustace? Who, me? Oh, you bet I do. I know this case inside out. Who does he think he's fooling? Eustace, my boy, make an old man happy and at least glance at the coroner's report, would you? Sure, let's see. Yada yada, 3 puncture wounds, blah blah, candle holder. No, wait, that's what they used? Crazy. Huh. Ahem, precisely. The wounds were inflicted just as Eustace says.
Hold it!
And you're sure the stabs to the chest were the cause of death? There's no doubt about that? None. One of the spikes of the candelabrum even pierced the victim's heart. Unless you mean to call Dr. Hurt's professional opinion into question, we can only treat that as fact. The coroner's opinion backing up my own winning ones? Now that's what I call a flawless victory. Well, I'm certainly not about to ignore the coroner's findings. Hey, what about my findings? You can't just ignore them. But the cause of death really was the puncture wounds to the chest from the candelabrum. That would seem to contradict one of the pieces of the evidence we've gathered. He's just ignoring my findings. He's ignoring me. Do something, Gavel. As you wish. At the very least, I will ensure that he cannot ignore my own conclusions.
Hold it!
But the victim may not necessarily have died instantly. I think we can say that much at least. Perhaps. But she would surely not have lived for longer than a few moments either. So, there are people who could survive even if you stab them in the chest? Sure, there might be. And there might not be, too. So which is it? Trust me, there are not. And in case you're still tempted to believe there might be, preliminary findings placed the time of death at some time late last night caused the death of a set of 3 puncture wounds on the left side of the chest inflicted by a candle holder. Victim also suffered a head injury post-mortem. Other remarks: prominent burn marks on back of victim's right hand.
Hold it!
Cause of death is a set of 3 puncture wounds on the left side of the chest inflicted by a candle holder. Well done for reading, Mr. Edgeworth. That report forms the basis of my own conclusions. In other words, if I disprove what it says, I disprove your conclusions too? You have the strangest sense of humor, but I wouldn't mind seeing you try. However, before you do, I would advise you to read that report very carefully. After all, I am not interested in your opinions, only in solidly grounded deductions. Very well, then you shall have my deductions. Mr. Edgeworth, don't worry, Kay, everything will be alright. You'll find something to prove that the victim was still alive and breathing immediately after the attack. If I can't, Kay's fate will be sealed. And she's still alive right there.
Objection!
Aha! I'm so smart. Chairman Winner, you know what this is, of course. The red raincoat. That's right, isn't it, Verity? Yes, sir, the one Miss Ringer was wearing. I warn you, Mr. Edgeworth, you will not be thanked for retreading old ground here. Well, I'm afraid I might have to, regardless. Now then, if you'll answer me this, Judge Gavel. You told us that the victim's bloodstains were found in the coat. But do you remember where exactly they were found? Of course. They were found on the hood and... What's the matter, Verity? The hood and... Was blood found anywhere else on the raincoat? No, it was not. Doesn't that strike you as odd? The victim died of stab wounds to the chest. Wouldn't that lead to one expect to find bloodstains in that area? And yet, there was blood only on the hood. There's a glaring contradiction if I've ever saw one. The head wound the victim suffered wasn't just some incidental injury. It was inflicted before the stab wounds to her chest. Perhaps you are correct. Perhaps the victim did sustain the head injury first. As you said, if she had been stabbed first, there should be blood in the chest area of the raincoat. Therefore, Miss Ringer cannot have been stabbed before the head injury had been inflicted on her head. But even if we concede this point, that the head injury came before the chest wound, what difference would it make? How does it change our understanding of the case? I'd say it changes things a great deal, in fact. It raises an even more fundamental contradiction. That is quite a bold claim, Mr. Edgeworth. I have to admit, you got me intrigued. Perhaps you could show us the fundamental contradiction with some evidence. Which piece of evidence best demonstrates the contradiction? The order of the entries revealed?
Take that!
Okay. This is Dr. Hertz's preliminary findings, according to which, the victim suffered a head injury post-mortem. But the order suggested by the bloodstains on the raincoat is exactly the opposite, yes. Bailiff, this court hereby subpoenas Dr. Hilda Hurst to the committee chamber with all due haste. Until she testifies, this case cannot be brought to a close. Yes, Your Honor. I'll go fetch her at once. Unfortunately, Dr. Hertz is a very busy woman. I doubt she'll be able to come immediately. In the meantime, there is another important angle I would like to explore. Frankly, something has been bothering me about the person at the heart of this case. The so-called ringleader. Who exactly are they? Yeah, good point. We never looked into that, huh? Despite having mentioned repeatedly in this hearing, we still don't know even the most basic facts that might help us uncover their identities. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any thoughts on the matter? We've seen nothing that might serve as clear evidence or the auctioneer's identity as of yet. But there is something involved with the case that I can name. I suspect that at the very least they might be able to point us in the right direction. And that's... Chairman Winner. I demand that you testify as to what you know. But what? Are you crazy? Why would you accuse my dad? You would cast down the integrity of the chairman of the committee? Understand the implications of such an act? I don't care who or what he is, we're talking about the truth here. And about a man who seems dead set on framing Kay at all costs. Mask, corsage, ticket stub, and everything else the items was carrying when she was found. They were deliberately placed in her possession somehow. By Chairman Winner himself. A shocking accusation, and one I find hard to believe. But for the sake of completeness, I must ask. Why would he do such a thing? To cast suspicion on Kay, of course. Why else? I even managed to get him to say something to that effect. Chairman Winner, your rebuttal, please. I the good chairman might be in shock. So what if I did? Did you hear me, dear boy? I said, so what if I did? You say you got me to admit as much, but where's your proof, With no evidence, with no witness to speak of, your word all alone is hardly enough to make an accusation like that stick. What do you mean to tell us that you have something more to base your outburst on? He still has the arrogance he showed back at the detention center, and yet... Mr. Edgeworth, I'm going to have to ask you to explain yourself. That's all right, Mr. Chairman? Not at all. I'd be very interested to hear this for myself. I'm intrigued to learn where Miles might have gotten the idea that I'm some sort of criminal. Because you'll never find a more fine and upstanding citizen than myself. He has a lot of nerve acting all innocent like that. Very well. Let's start at the very beginning. The fact that the auction took place right here in this hollow trial chamber is a point of suspicion. A location that should by rights only be accessible to members of the committee. Yeah, they all have key cards to the room after all. Furthermore, these auctions seem to be held on somewhat a regular basis. If that to be possible, there can only be one winning explanation. That's right, Mr. Winner. The auctioneer is a member of the committee. What? No! What on earth is wrong now? What do I do, Dad? I played right into his hands. You did indeed, you utter nitwit. But Miles, my boy, do you realize that you've cast quite the wide net with your explanation? That's true. There are 11 members of the committee altogether. 10 given Miss Ringer's unfortunate passing. 10 potential suspects in total. Well, it certainly isn't me. It can't be the chairman, can it? Whoever it is, speak up right now. Infighting. Come, calm down, all of you, please. Well, Miles, is that all the proof you got against me? You've gone very quiet all of a sudden. But it's too late to back out now. You accused a former chief prosecutor and a current committee chair member of a crime. I would tell you to prepare for the worst. But there's no preparing you for what you're about to face. Oh, shit. Know your place. You've been forcing us to argue over every little detail for a while now. Oh, shit. Where the murder happened, the order of the victim's injuries, some other things I hardly even remember. But you needn't have bothered, my boy, because it's all irrelevant in the end. Think about it. The suspect herself has already said she did it. That's all that matters at the end of the day, and her sentence will be lighter for it. So rejoice. And there you have it. Feel free to pick holes in it as you see fit. How can I when that was barely a testimony to begin with? That man, he's a very powerful person, isn't he? It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. Please, just let it go. Shut up, Kay! I did it. I'm the murderer. I even remember doing it. You saw a flash of something half-remembered, Kay. Nothing more. If you must believe in something, believe in me. Believe me when I say you should believe in your own innocence instead. But I'm up against the head of the committee here. This isn't going to be easy. But he seems to think he's already won. Perhaps I can use that against him.
Hold it!
Even if the broad strokes are correct, it doesn't make something true. Oh, don't be such a stick in the mud. I'd say the bigger picture is more than enough here. After all, every case has its little inconsistencies and contradictions. If we let ourselves get bogged down in every single one, we'd never make any arrests. And once we did, the trials would drag on forever. Even you understand that, right? Not in the slightest. Hence my inquiry into the details. Oh, to be so young and pig-headed. Anyway, you keep digging into these little I seem to recall the ringleader's identity in the faulty coroner's report being critical points of connection. Yes, I was listening, my boy, but critical is a matter of opinion. How can you possibly suggest that fundamental issues are not important? Perhaps it is your ability to make sound judgments that should be on trial here today. Oh ho ho, bravo, my young hothead. Wonderfully cutting stuff. You do like to try, though, don't you?
Hold it!
There's no way any of what we've discussed today is irrelevant. Not unless you intend to bury the truth. Well, none of it is irrelevant, dear boy. The only reason you keep trying to make it relevant is because otherwise, you're up the creek without a paddle.
it!
Just because she confessed to something doesn't make it the truth. Kay is suffering from amnesia, so any statement she makes should be taken with a little grain of salt.
Objection.
Objection. Even so, it doesn't exactly solve anything for us, does it, dear boy? And it would be nonsensical to dismiss her confession outright. I tell you what, why don't we ask her one last time? Though I'm sure she'll just say she did it again. Fine, let's do it. Let's ask her again. We'll see if she really believes herself to be the culprit. Huh? You mean me? Is this really what you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? If it goes badly, it could significantly weaken your position. I know, but there's no other way. I only request that I be the one to question her. You really know how to tug at an old man's heartstrings, you know. But fine, ask away. On one condition. If this turns out to be a waste of time, that's it. We'll call the proceedings to an end and then and there, agreed? Call the proceedings to an end? You mean the hearing? Yes, dear boy, that's right. Perhaps you want a complete muddlehead after all. Now, just so we're clear, if we ask again and all that happens, the girl confirms her guilt. She is officially declared guilty on the spot. Yeah, that sounds like a great plan if I do say so myself. That's it? You just declare her guilty just like that? That's the gist of it. It's a big risk. He's going to find a way to condemn her either way if we don't do something. Kay. Yes? I know it's a lot to ask, but I need you to think. Oh my God, Kay, please. Do you remember anything else about what happened on the day of the murder? Anything that might help us prove your innocence? Why? Why are you still fighting it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's no use. I can't be a help to you. I'm sorry. I'm too scared to try and remember anymore. What if I remember something even worse? And if I did, I'd just be making more trouble for you. Please, just accept it. The Kay you thought you knew is a dangerous criminal. A criminal who let you down and betrayed your trust. Don't worry, Kay. You have nothing to be afraid of. I may not have known you for a very long, but I know you well enough. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit, Miles. Is Kay's theme slowed down? Is it? I didn't even realize. Oh shit. And right now, I'd say I know you better than you know yourself. You would never commit a murder. You could never, because this is who you really are. Give her the Yatagarasu pin. Oh my God, my memories are all coming back. Whoa. Oh my God, look at all that fucking health. Take your pin back.
Take that!
You're the great thief Yatagarasu, a noble outlaw who would never stoop so low as to kill. I can't do it, I'm sorry. Because all I could see is the one memory that was returned. I have to face it.
Hold it!
No, the only evidence of your guilt is the confession they forced out of you. As I said earlier, you have to believe that you're better than that. Or are you saying you don't believe a word of what I've been telling you? No, it's not that. You're trying so hard to help me. And you're risking so much for me. It's too much. You have to stop, I'm begging you. Ah, so that's what's going on. I thought it was strange, but now I see. The reason you're allowing yourself to be railroaded into accepting your fate is because of me, isn't it? Which is exactly what the Kay I know would have done. You're a good person, Mr. Edgeworth. Sorry to burst your bubble, but I'm not. I don't plan on becoming one anytime soon. Stop it, bro. Because despite all your wishes to the contrary, I'm still trying to help you. So you see, I've really been servicing my own ego, regardless of what I put you through. Now, let's try this again. See the good in yourself, Kay. Remember the noble thief you truly are. That memory of you committing the murder, you need to question it with all you have. That's all I ask. So please, do it for me. Aww. There it is, bruh. Kay? What's wrong? Did you remember something? Oh, it'd be like some cliche movie plot if she did. That's exactly what I'm thinking. A cow. A cow? Mr. Edgeworth, if you could perhaps ask her for a few more details. Well, okay. What can you tell us about this, cow? I remember now. The person in the red raincoat, she had it in her hand. A stuffed cow, I can clearly see it now. Let's go with it, moo! Moo! Are you sure, Miss Faraday? Are you absolutely certain? Yes, I'm sure. And this court acknowledges the defendant's latest statements as new testimony.
Objection.
Have you lost your mind, Verity? We can't accept testimony like this. With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, information pertaining to the victim and her possessions is new and highly relevant evidence.
Objection.
Oh, now. Need to remind you of the addled state of her memory? No, this simply won't do. Oh, but you'll take her confession. Addled? But if we claim her memory is unreliable now, then our argument is weakened, sir. You said yourself only a few minutes ago that thanks to the suspect's confession, we need not worry ourselves over the finer details, did you not? Were we to call the validity of her memories into question? Then we must all call into question the confession on which our entire argument is based. Is that really the most advisable course of action? Yes, you're right. Proceed as you see fit, then. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We're still in the game, but only by the skin of our teeth. And only thanks to Judge Gavel's intervention. It's almost as if she was on our side for a second. She knows what's up, bro. She's not stupid. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, the stuffed animal. I believe the count in question is this thing here, Your Honor. We found it in the storeroom and believe it is yet another auction lot. No, but she a hoe. Wait, that's... Do you know something, Gavel? No, it's just not what I imagined. I suppose it is a rather odd thing for the victim to have been carrying. I should look over it carefully. The right horn seems to be intact, but I can't say it's doing much for the overall symmetry of the stuffed toy. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, it moves. It does? Sounds like sand being crushed? It would seem that there's a recording device hidden inside. I knew it was you the moment I laid eyes on you. You can't hide that burn from me. Nothing to say for yourself? I've waited so long for this day, and now I'll finally have my revenge. Could this be the moment of the murder? And someone made a recording of it. Hey, that's them right there. Them's the voices I heard. Sure as eggs is eggs.
Overruled.
Unfortunately, we have no way of verifying when these voices were recorded. It's possible they have nothing to do with the murder. If only there was some accompanying video footage. You got bugs in your eyes or something, lady? I done told you them's the voices I heard. And we already know the victim was holding that thing, right? So it's gotta be from when she got got. Yes, it is a possibility, but a weak one without more than your word to back it up. We need something more, something credible. We need? Yet again, she seems to be stepping in help. Judge Gavel, I think we all know the voices are from the moment of the murder. Consider for a moment the words we heard one of the speakers say. I knew it was you the moment I laid eyes on you. You can't hide that burn from me. I believe we have something that could explain what these words are referring to and how it's all related. Which piece of evidence proves that the voices are from when the murder occurred.
Take that!
The coroner's preliminary findings? How do they prove anything? Indeed, what on this page shows that the voices must be from the time of the murder.
Take that!
Bunk, bunk, bunk. Think again on the words we heard. This part in particular sticks out in my mind. You can't hide that burn from me. The victim had a prominent burn mark on the back of her right hand. And what of it? According to case testimony, the victim was carrying the stuffed cow toy. And a burn mark, an identifying mark unique to the victim, was mentioned on the recording it captured. Huh, it's just a coincidence. Stuff like that happens all the time, right?
Overruled.
I'm not so sure that it does, especially not in this case. She just overruled Eustace! Oh my god. The court accepts that the recording may be from the time of the murder. In which case, one of the two voices must belong to the real culprit. Based on the content of the conversation, it seems that it's likely the one we hear the most. Well, that still doesn't tell us anything about the killer's true identity, or even if they're male or female. Due to the voice changer is correct. Unfortunate, but unavoidable. One thing, however, has become clear. We are now able to say the voices Miss Hart heard were those of Miss Ringer and her killer. Just like I done told you they was. We can say something else now, too. Now let's hear it. That is, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Do as you wish. According to Miss Hart, just before the murder occurred, two people came up to the storeroom from the committee chamber on the elevator. The ringleader and one of the auction attendees. It seems that this was the point at which money exchanged hands. The murder happened immediately afterward, and the auction carried on after that. All of which points to one key fact. What else does this latest revelation tell us? What's the killer? Since the ringleader was the auction's sole auctioneer, then it follows that they cannot be the victim. Hey, Cavell. Not right now, Eustace. There's a good boy. Wow. Yeah. And if they weren't the victim, then they can only have been the killer.
Overruled.
A compelling argument, but hardly conclusive. I am fully aware of that, Your Honor. I was merely warming up for the main event. There were certain traces left on the scene that seemed to suggest the ringleader was the killer. Then please hurry up and show us. What is something that was placed on the scene that points to the ringleader as having been the killer?
Take that!
Okay. It was the blood. Alright. The killer deliberately left a large pool of blood at the foot of the Goddess of Justice statue. It was due to that the blood that we originally thought that the murder happened in this chamber. But it was simply a ruse designed to cover up the blood that had dripped down from the storeroom. In order to conceal the existence of the underground auction, correct? Correct. If the culprit had nothing to do with the auction, they would have had no reason to cover up that blood, which further supports that the theory the ringleader and the killer were one and the same. As to identify the ringleader, do you have anyone you'd like to name? The auction is always held in this committee chamber, with its storeroom located just overhead. So at the very least, we know the murderous ringleader has some connections to the committee. Yes, yes. You suspect me, correct? As the committee's most powerful member, that should be hardly a surprise, right?
Objection.
You're a fine prosecutor, that much I'll give you. But as I think I may have mentioned already, you're also hopelessly naive. You've got nothing, dear boy, have you? No evidence whatsoever. Unless you've got something to share after all. Do I have any evidence to show that Chairman Winter is the murderer? It was Chairman Winter himself who brought up the fact that I suspected him. And he seemed confident right from the get-go that he's untouchable. Which means he knows I have nothing. Well, Miles, my boy, time to pay the piper. Ah, I've always wanted to say that. Verity, he's all yours. Wait. Dang it, I just remember something. Huh? Did you have amnesia too? Nah, it just done came to me. Flash of inspiration, you know how it is. Very well, say your piece.
Objection.
What are you doing, Verity? Mr. Edgeworth has made it clear that he won't give up until every last lick of hope has been extinguished. So extinguish we must. Lest he try to drag us through this excruciating process again in the future. Yeah, what she said! I don't quite get it, but you sounded pretty cool. Don't worry, Dad. I'll help Gavell bring this into a winning finish. We'll show them how wrong they are. Fine. Let's hear what the witness has to say. You heard the chairman, Miss Hart. If you would be so kind. Well, all right, then. Here goes nothing. The facts, Miss Hart, and nothing but the facts, please. Don't you worry your pretty little head on that front. I'm a journalist. Truth's my middle name. Color me officially word. So the ringleader's the killer, right? Which makes the victim one of them auction goers. That thing is, that don't add up. I counted 11 people coming down that hatch, see? Then the murder happened. And then the auction started back up again. Now, it had me a look back downstairs right after that. No. And wouldn't you know it, there were 11 little duckies all lined up in a row again. How? And you're sure of this, Miss Hart? Sure as sure can be, your gavel ship. Saw it with my own 2 peepers. So, 11 people before the murder and 11 again right after. Wait, that's a thingy! Good job, Eustace. Contradiction, Eustace. Do try to keep up. Miss Hart, did nothing really change at all? I done told you already, they carried right on again, like nothing even happened. Oh, except for, it wasn't nothing much, but what is it? That little old mallet doodad? Can't have yourself an auction without one. Kind of like the one Missy over there's got, but different. The auctioneer's hammer? That's the bunny. It was the judge! Oh my god, it was the judge! I done heard that thing banging and clanging right the way through. Right the way through. And nothing, just like that. So the noise of the hammer stopped midway through? Could it have something to do with the murder? If what Miss Hart is telling us is true, we have something of a problem. Namely that if the victim is neither the auctioneer nor one of the attendees, your entire theory cannot stand, Mr. Edgeworth. Chalk one up for justice. Eat that, Edgeworth. See, Mr. Edgeworth, there really was nothing we could do. No, there must be something we're overlooking, something we still don't have an explanation for. I just need to think. If I can't, Kay is... All right, kids, do we finally all have our answers now? If so, then I expect you to make a good on... Oh, shit. One moment, sir. I worry that it might be still a little early to pass judgment. After all, we have one more matter yet to resolve. And until we do, we cannot claim complete and total victory over Mr. Edgeworth. Is that not so, Mr. Edgeworth? Frankly, I expected you to have raised your voice by now. And allowed to hold it, perhaps? Oh, yes, of course. And once again, she has rescued us from the jaws of defeat. Very well, let's get this over with, shall we? What is the one matter that still remains? Why the contradiction in the coroner's report, sir? Good job, Gorilla. You called it. That's... Where's the lady? I'm back with the witness, Your Honor. What's this all about? Why'd you call us back here? Did somebody suddenly fall ill? I have a compressor ready and 2 shakes of a ouch. This better be good. Did somebody else drop dead? Well, they might soon wish they had. Dr. Hertz, Miss Needler, thank you for coming on such short notice. I assure you, this won't take long. Quite trying to butter me up and act quite trying to butter me up and act and oh my god, and cut to the chase, will ya? Jesus. Of course. We summoned you here to confirm something. What's Judge Gavel up to? Dr. Hertz, this court asks that you provide the unabridged truth regarding the following. Do you stand by your preliminary findings? Can you vouch for the complete and total accuracy? Griffin doesn't make mistakes, ever. That's strange. Huh? What do you mean? In the course of this trial, an error was indeed found in her report. So I ask again for the truth, Dr. Hertz. Did you alter, tamper with, or in any way falsify your findings? That's awful. How could you even say that? What are you asking me for? Why the heck would I want to do that? To help the true culprit, of course. As if I know anything about all of that. I just know I didn't do anything of the sort. Then that seems doubly strange. What other explanation could there be for the discrepancy in your report, Mr. Edgeworth? I wonder if you might have any thoughts on the matter. It's not like you to be coy, I must say. Why does she keep taking charge and helping me? I still don't know what she's trying to do, but I'll happily take what I can get. If everything was recorded accurately and then handed off to Mr. Winter according to protocol, and the report shouldn't contain any mistakes. Wait. For the record, I didn't do anything to report. I guess we'll see, won't we? Dr. Hertz, perhaps we can begin with your side of the story? Why do we even need to? This is pointless. I'll be the judge of what's pointless, thank you very much. We have patients waiting back in the hospital. But Grandma... Ouch! We really don't have time for this. Won't you please help us? I can't stress how important this is. Grandma says she'll testify. But could you please make it quick? If we're not back soon, people will suffer. And yet you had no qualms about taking your time buying cotton candy the last time we saw you. We'll let you go as soon as we can, I promise. Assuming you tell us the truth, that is. The so-called mistake from the report. No way there's a mistake in Grandma's report. Not never. I've been dealing with the dead longer than you've been alive, Sonny Jim. Me writing something wrong is about as likely as... Ouch! What the heck do you think I'd stand to gain by a doctor in a file, Don't make a lick of sense. That's all she has to say. Nothing funky here. See? It's just as I thought. There's no chance that the good doctor doctored her findings. Can you swear by the holy goddess that this testimony is true? Of course! Grandma's never told a lie in her...
Objection!
Your opinions are not necessary, Nurse Needler. Your grandmother is the subject of this inquiry, not you. Not necessary? That's not fair. I'm the only ally poor Grandma has. Go ahead and shout an objection left or right, but you best be prepared then, Mr. Ex-Prosecutor. I want more than prepared. I'm ready to expose the truth behind the error in the report.
Hold it!
Never? You're saying that Dr. Hertz is infallible? She has to be. A doctor can't afford to make mistakes. Even a veteran like Grandma would be out of a job if she messed up even once. So there's no way she, of all people, would... I got a whole hospital rely on me. Might be you can bungle your work and survive, mister, but I can't.
Hold it!
You never really made a single mistake in all that time? Doctoring's all about experience. The longer you've been at it, the better you get. If only the same were true of prosecuting, Chairman Winter would be the best in the business. But I think we can all agree that's not the case. Oh, you really are a devil, Miles. Well, you're also quite wrong. I've never once made a mistake either. After all, I have people to do that for me. I'm too busy for foul-ups, and luckily for me, I don't have to make them. Isn't having people just grand? Don't you go trying to make a doctor and a lawyer and sound the same. They ain't nothing alike. Nothing alike, I tell you. Boom.
Hold it!
The victim appears to have put this raincoat on after sustaining the head injury. And yet there was not a single drop of her blood in the chest area of the raincoat. Therefore, she must have been hit in the head before she was stabbed in the chest, making it pre-mortem. Oh, that's... Ouch! I don't need you to teach me how to suck eggs, young man. My dang report already says what you just said, don't it?
Objection!
No, the fuck it don't. Your report states that the head injury appears to have been sustained post-mortem. Which is the exact opposite of what I just said. Oh. Sure. I diligently dictated the report to Florence here. And she wrote it all down just like I said it. Something happened to it after. Weren't nothing to do with me. You dictated it? If you could please tell me more.
Hold it!
Just so we're on the same page, what were your conclusions regarding the body? Well, like I said, ouch! Sorry, it was, death from a good hard knock to the noggin. And can you say for certain when that knock happened, Dr. Hertz? Pre-mortem, of course. Chest wound happened after the poor girl died. I told Florence that, she wrote it all right down. So that's what it says in my danged report. That may be what you told her, but I think we're finally getting to the truth. Oh my god, that shit was fabricated. Needler, do you have to say something about your stuff?
Objection!
Pathetic. Dr. Hertz, I'd like you to take a look at the report for yourself. Oh, I'll read it to... Yow! Ow! This ain't what I said. This ain't what I said at all. What? What? What do you mean exactly? Ow! Damn, she's getting knocked... Damn! I don't know. They're just hitting each other at this point. But I can't say that. Miss Needler, if you are attempting to bury Dr. Hertz's truth, I will gladly hear her confession myself on behalf of the goddess of justice. Dr. Hertz seems to be telling Judge Gavelle something in private. What? I see. Very well. Allow me to relay to everyone what you have just told me. Ain't no doubt about what I said. I dictated my findings to Florence, just like I told you I did. The fuddle-headed young thing must have wrote it down wrong or something. Wow, that was a great impression. Yes, but was it really necessary? So in summary, there was an error in the report. It was all because of you, Nurse Needler? The true facts have been shown to that the head injury occurred prior to the chest wound. Question now, Miss Needler, is why did you introduce such an error? Just a minute, Verity. You make it sound as if the poor girl did it deliberately. Whereas it seems to me she just made a little mistake. Pre-mortem, post-mortem, they're practically the same word, don't you think? That's not the only thing that's wrong, though. Except it made two completely opposite things. This was deliberate, no doubt about it. Why would she want to change it? Exactly. Thanks, Cat. Ouch! You won't get away that easily. Explain yourself, young lady. But Grandma, You submitted a falsified report, an act that led to Kay being accused of murder. You owe us an explanation. But I can't tell you. Yeah, I don't want to, but can't? This is really rather unpleasant, don't you think? Ganging up on this poor, considerate girl who's only looking up after her grandmother. She has nothing to do with anything. She simply made one tiny mistake, so why not leave it there?
Objection!
You'd like that, wouldn't you? Because the only person her testimony would hurt is you. What on earth do you mean by what on earth do you mean, my boy? Seeing as you're now a de facto ex-prosecutor, you're going to need to explain yourself better than that. I'd be happy to. I'll even spell it out for you. Nurse Needler doctored the report in order to cover for her accomplice. Ouch! So she's a co-conspirator, this innocent young thing here? Do you share your grounds for making such a wild accusation, dear boy? This murder couldn't have been committed by one person working on their own. Without at least two people would have been possible to. If the auctioneer was the murderer and the victim was one of the attendees, the fact that a witness testified to there being 11 attendees after the murder doesn't make sense. Hey, watch it. You gotta call my good word into question now, too? That's not what I meant. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm taking you at your word, which means there must be a co-conspirator. I know it's hard, my boy, but sometimes you just have to accept that you were wrong.
Objection!
I wasn't wrong. I just hadn't considered the possibility of the killer having an accomplice. But as soon as we do, things start to fall into place. If the killer's accomplice returned to the auction room in the place of the victim, there would have indeed been 11 attendees both before and after the murder. Yeah, burn your beard on fire. Well, so that's your thinking, is it? Certainly an intriguing theory. But surely the imposter would have been spotted right away. I don't imagine that Nurse Needler looks strikingly different from the victim in build and stature. With the help of a mask, she could very easily have replaced Miss Ringer without anybody noticing. Well, Nurse Needler, is that what happened? Did you take the victim's place at the auction? I wouldn't do something like that. Now tell us, the ringleader, who were they? I can't tell you, I just can't. I'd hurt Grandma, too. Ow! But Grandma... Don't you worry about me, I can take it. You just tell me everything, child. But... Damn! Oh, shit! So I was right, she was an accomplice. Miss Needler, why? Well, Miss Needler? Can you explain yourself? Yes. Huh? Oh, thank you, Grandma, but I'm alright now. I confess it, I changed places with Miss Ringer. So you admit that you were working with the ringleader? Yeah, I was helping them. I don't know how, but they found out Miss Ringer was going to attack them. The culprit was going to be attacked? By the victim? They seemed pretty sure it was going to happen that night, so they made a counter plan. They wanted to strike first. They wanted me to help them. I was told to go to the storeroom before the auction began and wait there. Now hold on right there, Missy. I didn't see nothing, and my eyes don't lie. If you would have been there from before the auction, I would have bumped right into you. I was there the whole way through, and you weren't there for a bit of it. But I'm not lying. Well, that's easy for you to say, but you were lying about altering that report only a few minutes ago.
Objection!
I think we're all aware of the number of potential hiding places in that storeroom. Are we? Where exactly are you trying to say our friend the nurse was hiding, She hid inside the clothes box. Oh, she did she? Huh? Well, it was there the whole time, even before I moseyed on in. But like I done tell you, it had all them chains around it. Wanted to hide in there myself, really, but it was locked up tight, so I had to go elsewhere. I imagine that's because Nurse Needler was already lying in there by the time you arrived. That's right, we didn't want anybody to open it, or would have really blown our cover. So the ringleader told me to climb in and wait until it was time for my part of the plan. And then they wrapped the whole box up in chains. I think they took the elevator downstairs not so long after. It was just before the action was due to start. So as the action was beginning, you and Miss Hart would have been the only people in the storeroom? Yeah, I think so. The auction proceeded as it always did, until a certain customer came upstairs to complete her purchase. That was when the incident occurred. Miss Hart overheard the victim and the culprit exchanging words, and then, you betcha, I was behind that statue there, shaking like a dang leaf the whole time. In the middle of their quarrel, Miss Ringer was killed by the auctioneer. I imagine the auctioneer then carried Miss Ringer's body over to the clothes box, from which Nurse Needler emerged and swapped places with the victim, after placing Miss Ringer's body inside the box. Nurse Needler's role was to pretend to be Miss Ringer. But what about the person going up the stairs? The two of them then returned to the room below as if nothing had happened. Does that about sum up what happened in the storeroom, Nurse Needler? Yes. In fact, that's exactly what happened. There's gonna be a contradiction. The person going up the stairs, Miles. Hold up, so you just walked right back in on like nobody noticed? This is two completely different people we're talking about. You're telling me not one of the other folks down there at the auction cottoned on? Why would they? The other auction goers had no reason to notice the difference when Nurse Needler entered because... As we've seen, Miss Ringer and Nurse Needler are about the same build. What's more, the auction rules required the attendees to wear their mask at all times. If Nurse Needler was wearing the same clothes as Miss Ringer, nobody would have been any the wiser. No, and they weren't. I borrowed Miss Ringer's clothes and ouch! I left the poor child in her smalls? Have you no respect, girl? No, Grandma, I thought the same thing. It wouldn't be nice to leave her like that. So when the ringleader wasn't looking, I put that raincoat on her. That's how Miss Ringer came to be wearing it. Thus, the auction was able to carry on before her. Guess the part where I caught the red raincoat on film just came just after. Yeah, it must be, then it all makes sense. Right after that was when I went on over and looked downstairs through the gap in the elevator. Spied me 11 little auction goers, then I stuck back into my little hidey hole. Don't tell me you were hiding back there the entire time after that. Well, that is not exactly... What is it? Did something happen? So maybe I ought to have mentioned this before, but I fell asleep for a few winks after that. Well, passed out unconsciously, you might say. What? What happened? Oh, nothing much. Kind of silly, really, but there was a sudden loud noise, and it startled me just a little bit, you know. All right, maybe more than a little, but I just witnessed a murder. Can't blame a girl for getting jumpy. Guess I got my heart shook and my head faint. Before I knew it, I was out like a light. By the time I came to, it was the next dang day. There y'all were, clanking down that ladder. See, so you were stalled by a loud noise and fell unconscious? Suppose that means you don't know what happened after that? Not per se, but, well, after the auction was over, all the masks were back on the rack. So I reckon that the guests done finished up, filed out one by one, like they were supposed to. Nurse Needler, once the auction had restarted, what exactly were you doing? I was pretending to be Miss Ringer and placing bids just as the ringleader wanted. I had to win the clothes box as I'd been instructed. It had a dead body inside after all. Imagine if somebody else had worn it. We would have been in real trouble then. So you had no idea that the victim had vacated the box in the meantime? Not until we came back up so I could pay for it. That's when we noticed. The ringleader told me to go look for her right away. Except I found some other girl collapsed at the foot of the ladder instead. Okay. Yeah, she must have fallen up from on the roof and been knocked unconscious. Guess the victim must have left that hatch wide open, huh? That would explain it. Kay would have been so shocked by seeing Miss Ringer fall motionless right in front of her that she wouldn't have seen the open hatch and fallen right through it. That explains the noise that caused you to faint as well, Miss Hart. It's the sound of Kate crash landing onto the storeroom floor. Yeah, I suppose. Can't believe something like that done knocked me out for so long, though. So in summary, by the time Miss Needler found Kay, you were already sound asleep behind the statue. I think we got a good grasp on what occurred up to this point now. Nurse Needler, if you would continue. Sure. So I found Kay, and next I found Miss Ringer, and I put them both in the clothes box. We couldn't risk any of the auction goers seeing them. That would have caused a real hullabaloo. Hullabaloo. Was that your idea? Or the ringleaders? Theirs. But putting the raincoat on Miss Ringer was my own idea. So I tried to get rid of it before they found out what I'd done. I imagine they were none too pleased when it showed up as a surprise piece of evidence in this case. And lastly, the ringleader and I put her in an auctioneer's outfit well prepared. Of course, which completed the deception and made everyone think she was the auctioneer. All in all, the auction finished up without anybody noticing anything. And that was that. Now that we know the extent of your crimes, Nurse Needler, if you have anything further to share, I advise you to do so immediately. I wish I could tell you more, but I'm sorry. That's all I know. Oh, except for one thing. It did seem a little strange, I guess. When I was borrowing Miss Ringer's clothes, I took everything I could, but I couldn't take her hair, obviously, so ouch! You're dang right you couldn't take her hair. What kind of medical professional are you? That's where you draw the line, so taking her clothes was okay? Our hair was totally different, the style, the length, everything. I kind of panicked. The ringleader thought of everything, including the wigs. 2 of them, in fact. There was a straight one and a wavy one. They were both stashed in the clothes box. 2 wigs? Why? Right, I wonder that too. I thought maybe they were worried she might have changed up her style. Anyway, I took the straight one. That was the one that matched her hair on that day. Leaving a wavy wig of the box. And that's everything you know? There's nothing else you're forgetting? No. Huh? No, really, Grandma, that's everything. I take it that you really have no idea who the ringleader might be? Sorry, I only know that they were in charge of the auction. I didn't see them without their mask on. And they were pretty careful to keep their identity a secret from everyone. Ugh! If I can't get something concrete on them. Well, Miles, are we about done? You're proving that the nurse was part of the murder plot, but sadly for you, it doesn't change a whole lot. But it does nothing to prove that Kate Faraday isn't the ringleader. What? Injustice must prevail. We can't change the law, even for your sake. Is this it? Am I not going to be able to save Kay?
Objection!
Francisca! Or Francisca, the one person I didn't say. Let's go! Francisca! Francisca? What are you doing here? As I told you before, Miles Edgeworth, where the case leads, I follow. Your dedication is an inspiration to us all. But don't go getting the wrong idea, little brother. I'm only here to deliver the truth regarding the suspect. I'm certainly not here to forgive you for abandoning the way of the prosecutor. I understand that. You should thank your former subordinate for what I'm about to share. Gumshoe! Let's go! We love Gumshoe in this household. We love Gumshoe in this household. In his desperation to help Kate Faraday, he gave me a valuable piece of information. Detective Gumshoe did that? Prepare yourself, Miles Edgeworth, for the final piece of the puzzle. Rosie Ringer's head wound was the first of the injuries she suffered, not the second. Oh boy. God damn it, Gumshoe. Well, someone say something! Yes, there's no easy way to say this, Francisca, but we already proved that ourselves. You what? Yes, just a few minutes ago. Ow! Well, why didn't you say so sooner? You didn't exactly give us a chance. And I suppose you know about the murder weapon too? No, not yet. Huh, good. Then listen up. The victim was struck on the head with a blunt object bearing a circular surface. And the wounds to the chest were actually inflicted post-mortem. A circular surface?
Objection.
And you're certain of that, I assume? Your sources are above board? 2 trusted medical professionals reached the same conclusion independently. You couldn't ask for more.
Objection.
That's certainly good to know. Unfortunately, you're overstepping the bounds of... Oh, shit! Of what? I'm the prosecutor in charge of the Interpol's investigation in the underground auction. And this murder occurred during that auction. It would be negligent of me not to pursue leads pertaining to the related parties. Especially the victim. My, you've really become quite the force to be reckoned with, haven't you, my dear? And all parties are in agreement. The victim died from a blow to the head. Sadly, the murder weapon itself has yet to be identified. Based on the shape, I might have an idea or two. Guys, I didn't turn up any other weapon during my investigation. And yet, one need only think about the setting and auctioneer's tools. And the answer should be obvious. An object with a circular surface used in an auction we're obviously talking about. What would an auctioneer have readily at hand? Boom. An auctioneer's hammer, of course. Never found one of those. If the auctioneer was indeed the killer, it does seem a likely candidate for the murder weapon. But without the evidence to support your theory, it remains nothing more than that. Oh, I have just the evidence you need right here. This piece of evidence strongly suggests that the auctioneer's hammer was the murder weapon.
Take that!
Miss Hart told us something very important about the auction after the murder occurred. She said that the very prominent sound of the auctioneer's hammer could no longer be heard. Now, why would that be? I'll tell you why. Because it had just been used in a murder and was covered in the victim's blood. Oh, I thought it was going to be broken. It would need to be disposed of. Isn't that right, Chairman Winner? I'll have our people look into this right away. Oh ho ho, you really are like a dog with a bone, aren't you, dear boy? But if you can't dedicate yourself to a cause when you're young, when can you? He seems very confident we'll never find it. Because he probably burned it. Very well, a search for the murder weapon will be conducted. In the meantime, this court is in recess. Silence in the courtroom, please. Ms. Von Karma, if you would be so kind as to update us on the progress of the search. It's not good news, I'm afraid. The entire big building has been searched from top to bottom, and no auctioneer's hammer was found anywhere. Bro probably just threw it away, bro. That is bad news indeed. Then we have no choice but to move ahead with the verdict. Such a terrible shame. I suppose only a fool would have left the murder weapon behind. It's certainly not what I expect from a first-rate criminal mind. No, there's just not enough to work with here. I can't carry us any further on my own. Yes, it really is a tragedy, but such is life, I suppose. I was just thinking back over the defendants I've made plea deals with over the years. People who poured their hearts out to me, who trusted me with every detail of their crimes. And then when it came to their sentences, I recommended life in prison every time. What an asshole. For every single one. What an asshole. Oh, if only you could see them. The stupid, dumbfounded looks on their faces. The verdict will now be passed. All present will accept the goddess's words of law. Words as law. There's nothing more I can do. Kay and I are both... If only we had some proof! I never imagined I would be passing judgment on you under such circumstances. The end of the road, huh? Gumshoe! Vendor! Somebody! Excelsius winners, this court hereby indicts you for your crimes. Oh! Never mind! Get him, Gavel! What? Huh? What on earth's gotten into you, Verity? I submit for the court's consideration the case file of a certain incident. Namely, the IS-7 incident, a murder that took place 18 years ago. What does that file have to do with... Wait, you mean... Your late-night visit to this chamber, that was to... Precisely. I came here to retrieve these documents. Though, sadly, it would seem that I arrived too early. to catch the auction itself. Okay, Gavel. When we spoke to the matter before, I implied that I had come to retrieve files pertaining to your own case. You'll have to forgive me. That was a ruse to buy myself more time. Oh my god, bro. 5-head Gavel, Doug. I can actually like you now. Let's go. What the heck are you doing, Gavel? You can't just accuse my dad. Without proper grounds, it's defamation. I think you mean defamation, Eustace. An excellent observation, Eustace. It is? And of course, I have the grounds to make such an accusation. 18 years ago, Mr. Manfred von Karma had some details about the victim's body fabricated. Details he was forced to fabricate when the sculptor Artie Frost's body went missing. My papa fabricated information? What is the meaning of this? Ian Simon, the detective originally assigned to the case, did in fact report that the body had gone missing. However, it seemed that a certain someone wasn't very pleased with Mr. Von Karma. He deliberately withheld that information in order to bring him down a few pegs. What? This individual refuses to allow anyone to go against their wishes or to challenge their power. And they're known to go to extreme lengths in order to bring those who defy them to heel. 18 years ago, they were no different. In fact, they even ordered Dr. Hertz to create a fake autopsy report for the IS-7 incident. What? She was responsible for the fake report? Wait, you have to understand, Grandma, she's not a bad person. She had to do what she had to do what he said. She didn't have any choice. He? The person in question was the chief prosecutor at the time. The chief prosecutor 18 years ago. No, the man who gave Papa the first penalty of his career. Excellent winner, it was you! This is what I meant for I said I slightly felt bad for Karma. The penalty wasn't his fault. He still didn't admit his ruse, so he's still corrupt, but he didn't forge the report. Karma was still a bad guy, but this guy's even worse.
Objection!
Objection! What are you all talking about? My dad would never do something like that.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, Eustace, but your opinion on the matter is not needed here. Well, Chairman Winter, do you have anything to say for yourself? All that nonsense with the body, that was Manfred's doing. Such a willful boy. And the fake autopsy report? Hilda, how could you? I can't believe you naughty kids would do such dishonest things behind my back.
Hold it!
We could just ask her why she did it. She is standing right over there, after all. Wait, Grandma can't. She's... Ouch! Grandma, I'm sorry. I knew. That's why I... Right, exactly. If I didn't, everybody would have been found out about what you did. They said he was going to charge you if I didn't help them with their plan. Oh. That's why she agreed to be an accomplice. They said that he would. I just had to do what the auctioneer said. So you were coerced into it, were you, Nurse Neela? And just to be clear, the auctioneer was Chairman Winter. I'm sorry, but I honestly don't know. The person forced me to help them was the auctioneer. And they definitely looked to be about the same build as the chairman, but I never saw their face. Oh, there must be something. Any detail, no matter how small, will do. Oh, wait. Their mask didn't cover their whole face. And the part that wasn't covered had a tattoo on it. I remember that much for sure. Also, tattoo on the part of their face that didn't mask the cover. Tattoo.
Objection!
It's under his beard, isn't it? This all sounds very dramatic, but I really don't know what you're talking about. There's no tattoo anywhere on my face. I think I'd know if there was one, wouldn't you? Which means I can't be the ringleader, no matter how much you might want me to be. I can only hope you can figure it out, who the shameless manipulator might be.
Overruled.
Your contempt for this courtroom is an insult to this goddess. Are you sure it's not you who's feeling insulted here? I'm not the only one who has been trying to bring you to justice. Miss Ringer had been trying to, too. And I refuse to let her sacrifice be in vain. Young Rosie was looking to take me down, you say? But why? I barely knew her. I've always had certain magnetic charm, but I don't remember ever catching that particular eye. Ew. You barely knew the victim? Why, I do believe that is a new statement. The gods demand that you offer your full testimony on the record. So that's how this is going to go, hmm? You mean to hound me until I finally break? Well, if that's the way you want to play it, fine. I'll destroy you all. Every last one of you. Mr. Edgeworth, please allow me to work with you on this one. Let's go! I doubt we'll get another chance to put him on the stand. So let's make the most of this opportunity. Of course, Your Honor. This is the dream team right here, bro. The brain power right here, bro, is crazy. I wouldn't have it any other way. Now, Chairman Winner, you will tell this court everything you know about Miss Ringer. Young Rosie was a member of the committee, of course. But we never really had any personal interactions, at least none that I remember. I had no motive to murder that poor girl whatsoever. And I have absolutely no idea why she was after me. So you don't mean to accept your part in any of this? Why are you defending your dad? He literally calls you the bane of, like life every single time you're on screen. How could he be? He's my dad, the winner of winners. Oh, boy. That's very kind of you, Eustace. But you'll need more than words if you plan to cover for me. But right, you got it. I won't let them pin this on you. I believe in you, Dad. You'll beat Edgeworth. I know you will. Yes, yes. You really are such a sweet, simple child. He really loves his dad, huh? But that's no excuse for him to ignore his father's crimes. No matter how much he respects him. Regardless of their station in life, all criminals will be made to atone for their sin in time. This won't be easy on Mr. Winter, but it has to be done. He can't let his father get away with this. As a member of the committee, you must at least been familiar with her face. Sure, that's about all. I saw her every once in a while.
Hold it!
So you're saying you barely knew the victim at all? That's exactly what I'm saying, my boy. Yes. Why would I have even known about that burn mark on her hand? You didn't? I mean, what's the point? You get to know someone, but before you know it, they're gone. It's become such a pain to remember things about others. They're here one day and gone the next. Yes, because they dare to stand up to you and you make them disappear. If you could please add your remark about the victim's burn to your testimony, Chairman Winter.
Hold it!
You're sure you didn't know about the burn mark? You really don't let up, do you? I'm not in the habit of memorizing who has a scar on their hand and who doesn't. But this wasn't just any old scar. I'd say it's pretty noticeable, in fact. Perhaps under normal circumstances, but now that I think about it, Miss Ringer did always wear gloves. Truth be told, I wasn't aware of her burn mark until after the incident myself. The victim's hands were always covered by a pair of gloves? It makes sense, of course. People can be very self-conscious about such things. I can only sympathize, being something of a sensitive soul myself. I hope you're not too sensitive to append that statement to your testimony. And get this, bro. This is only the 4th case. There was another case after this, bro.
Hold it!
So you remember her always wearing gloves? I mean, it was something of a trademark of hers, yes. Who knew it was to hide a burn mark? I always imagined it was just a fashion statement. Does your little friend there have something to hide under all those bandages, I wonder? Who, me? No, I don't have anything to hide. You don't? Not even the stony visage of cold-blooded murder?
Objection!
If anyone here is hiding at such a thing, it's you. And I'll expose your true face if it's the last thing I do. Never fail to entertain, my boy. Go ahead and do your worst. So Miss Ringer always wore gloves. That reminds me of something. Should I overlook all the evidence again?
Hold it!
You know. You ever had any trouble with her professionally? Don't be so silly, my boy. I'm far too important these days for such trivialities. And by all accounts, her work was unimpeachable. Besides, our difference in standing meant we hardly ever interacted. But that doesn't prove you didn't kill her, does it? Well, you would say that, wouldn't you? Anything to save your little friend, hmm? It certainly seems that Miss Ringer had some personal interest in you, at least. Indeed, but I can't for the life of me imagine why. Too bad, so sad. Without a motive, you can't logic your way into pinning this on me.
Hold it!
You have no idea at all as to why she was after you? Let's see now. Because Dad's a real catch. I suppose you could say that, yes. The admirers, they come, and then they go again. You could even dream of being like my dad. Very true. I doubt many ordinary people quite could match his achievements. It's remarkable, really, to have so many people come into a life and then for so many to leave it. Damn. I certainly won't complain if you chose to leave for Rarity, my dear. I think it's far more likely that you'll be the one leaving today in handcuffs. Yes, very true. But if you think I'm finished, you'll be sorely disappointed. I have to think back over to what we know about the victim. Take another look at the evidence. You just might find a new way to interpret old information. Are you trying to help me, Francisca? I'm trying to help Kay Faraday. I could care less about you. That's to see she really is worried for Kay in her own Francisca sort of way. Oh.
Objection!
Fucking A. Lol. I mean, because we can't confirm it's him. So, like, I don't. Why are we bringing this up again? So Miss Ringer always wore gloves? If she did, that raises a rather important question and highlights a quite a contradiction. A contradiction, you say? Really? If we listen again to the conversation that was captured by this stuffed cow, you'll soon see what I mean. Now, here we go. There it is. And I knew it was you the moment I laid eyes on you. You can't hide that burn from me. Nothing to say for yourself? I've waited so long for this day, and now I'll finally have my revenge. We can be reasonably certain that what we just heard is the moment the victim was attacked. I knew it was you the moment I laid eyes on you. You can't hide that burn from me. We assume that those were the words of the killer. And where's the problem in that? It seems like a perfectly sensible assumption to me. I'm afraid not, Chairman Winter. For you see, if the victim was always wearing gloves, as you just testified, then the burn mark on her hand should not have been visible to her killer.
Objection!
You like those sound effects, bro? You speak as if the gloves can't be easily removed. She could have taken them off during the auction. That's... But she hadn't! She was still wearing them when I changed places with her. So they must have been on her hands when she was being murdered, too. What are you saying, my dear? You do know how much trouble you were in, don't you? I'm not scared of you anymore. I have Grandma on my side now. Let's go, Granny. Now it's time for you to pay the piper, Winter, you dang devil. Let's go, Granny! I see, so you're both looking to disappear, too. That can be arranged. Not this time, Excelsius Winter. The only person disappearing will be you.
Objection!
Objection! Hey, you can't talk to my dad like that. Who cares if the burn mark was covered up? Why does that even matter?
Objection!
Oh, it matters. Because it turns out our understanding of the burn mark on its head. Whoa, what do you mean? What can the fact that the victim's burn mark was covered up possibly tell us? Think about it like this, Mr. Winter. The victim was wearing gloves. Therefore, the burn mark on her hand would not have been visible. In which case, whose burn mark was it that was being referenced in the recording? Somebody who, wasn't the victim? Precisely, which can only mean that the culprit had a prominent burn mark too. Or to put it another way, I knew it was you the moment I laid eyes on you. You can't hide that burn from me. Those words were spoken not by the murderer, but by the victim. No way!
Objection!
Eustace, my boy, would you mind stepping aside for a sec? Look, Miles, it's nice to see you having fun with your little flights of fancy, but let's get serious. The murderer had a burn mark now. Really? Where? Your little theory will either take flight or die, depending on your answer here, I'm afraid. Stop messing around. I have to figure out where that burn mark was and fast. I wonder where it could have been. All the auction people were wearing disguises, right? Yes, each disguise was different. Yeah, in spite of that, the burn mark was visible to the victim somehow, which means... Shall we? Enlighten us, why don't you? Where's the murderer's burn mark? I assume you have some evidence. The mask didn't cover.
Take that!
Here is my evidence. The outfit the ringleader was wearing throughout the auction. Or rather, the outfit you were wearing, Chairman Winner. Oh, and what exactly is that supposed to tell us, huh?
Objection!
A suit, white gloves, and a mask. This disguise should have covered almost all your skin. But according to Nurse Needler's testimony, the auctioneer's mask didn't quite cover your entire face. Not only that, she claims to have seen a tattoo on that part, on the part that was exposed. But was it a tattoo, or did she simply mistake a burn mark for one? A burn mark on the face?
Objection!
So is he wearing a wig? This must be a wig then. This whole hair, this isn't his actual hair. This is a wig. It's gotta be. Sorry to interrupt while you're so clearly enjoying yourself, dear boy. But I regret to inform you, and none of the committee members has such a burn. Myself included, of course. But Dad, Eustace, do you think you can be quiet, please? You can be foolish on your own time later. Oh, Eustace knows. Eustace! I know it's your dad, Eustace, but you gotta do this, please. Well, you may be an annoyance most of the time, Mr. Winter. But on this particular occasion, I'm grateful for your presence. A reaction like that from you, his son, is as good as an indicator of the truth as I could have hoped for. And it gives me a much-needed confidence boost concerning another theory of mine. Namely, who that one unexplained item belonged to. What's the matter with Mr. Winter? I think he might be in shock. After all, he's usually the last to figure things out. But in this case, he seems to have gotten there all too quickly. He knows that his father is indeed the real murderer. He's sad because he knows the truth? So it's better not to know the truth at all? No, Kay. It's what we came here for. It doesn't matter how we get there, but the important thing is finding the truth. You yourself told me that once, right when I needed to hear it the most. And I know it's time for me to repay the favor, show you the truth of your innocence. I want to know, too, the truth of what really happened. So please, Mr. Edgeworth, won't you show me? Let's go! She's back! Kind of. I very much intend to. You don't know when to give up, do you? Where is this burn, then? Perhaps you could point it out to me? Well, you can't, can you? Because it's nowhere to be found. Just like your evidence that I'm the killer. Yeah, hunt for the contradictions all you like. You won't find any. But because he's my dad, a winner through and through.
Objection!
I understand, Mr. Winter. I completely understand why you don't want to believe it's true. But if you ignore the truth now, you'll regret it for as long as you live. Dad, what do I do? Uh-oh. I just don't understand it. How could I have raised such an utter buffoon? Oh, here we go, bruh. Now I'm gonna start feeling bad for Eustace, aren't I? Oh. If you really wish to help your father, Eustace, you try thinking on your own for once in your life, you useless nitwit. Oh, yeah, here it comes. But I try all the time, Dad. All I do is try. I went to the school you wanted me to go to. I aced every test. Look at my jacket. They only gave these to the valedictorian. I did everything you told me to. I worked like crazy and graduated top of my class. I tried to be just like you and win as many trophies as I could.
Objection!
You really are just a simpering simpleton, aren't you? Those tests you aced, I had the school give you perfect scores on all of them. I knew it. I had a feeling. Those debate and speech competitions you won, the judges were all friends of mine. If you never even realized that much, there's no hope for you, I'm afraid. None at all. You're no son of mine. Even you must see that. Oh. Oh. Oh, gone. My own son. They all leave in the end. I mean, boo-hoo-hoo. Wow, what a dick. Notice how a track called Confess the Truth is playing while Dad is calling him an idiot? I know. Even when he was trying, he was failing. And he did it all for me? That he shouldn't have tried. He should have tried harder. You're a disgrace. You don't deserve to be a father, and you certainly don't deserve to be chairman of this committee. Even I feel sorry for the boy now. Me too. Poor Mr. Winter. Explain yourself, Chairman Winter. Just what do you think your son is to treat him such a way? An utterly useless pawn sounds about right. But you're one to talk, Verity. You try to worm your way into my trust by using Eustace, too. I cannot deny it. However, I have never thought of him as a mere pawn. He may not be a naturally gifted prosecutor, but he tries in some ways. He tries harder than anybody. That's what I have witnessed during my time with him. Yet you would call him useless? How could you?
Objection.
Because he is Verity, my girl. He's utterly incapable of doing anything I ask of him. Mr. Edgeworth, I entrust my offering to the goddess to you, so that you may use it to call her final judgment onto Excelsius Winter. I've been more than ready to do so. The ringleader had a visible burn mark on their face that night, and it would follow that Chairman Winter is currently holding the mark somehow. How exactly was he dressed during the auction? That would be the key to solving the case at last. Now then, your answer, please. Which piece of evidence will help us to reveal the burn mark on the culprit's face?
Take that!
Yes! 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 Recall Nurse Needler's testimony, if you will. There was one thing we never quite resolved. The second wig. The one that wasn't used. I seem to remember it being wavy? What are you two talking about? Nurse Needler apparently found some very interesting items when she went to swap places with the victim. And? What do they have to do with the burn mark? What she found were two wigs. One was intended to make her look more like the victim. What was the other one for? I don't suppose it was meant to be a spare. It doesn't take a huge leap of imagination to see the truth. Compare Chairman Winter's current appearance to that of the ringleader as it was described to us. Stop it. Stop staring at me. One very prominent difference presents itself. His face, or rather, what's around it. You mean it wasn't a wig after all? Indeed, not a wig intended to go on the top of the head in any case. It was a fake beard all along, wasn't it, Excelsius Winter? Excelsius Winter. This? Why, this is all my own, dear boy. How very unkind of you to suggest otherwise.
Objection!
We saw how your son reacted when he realized the truth. How he desperately tried to cover for you, even in the light of his realization. Yet you still feared that he might expose you. So rather than take that risk, you bullied him until he couldn't take it anymore. Because he knew. He knew that your beard hides your prominent birthmark. Chairman Winter, I insist that you remove your beard this instant. Oh shit. There it goes. Burn it. Oh yeah. Damn, he looks crazy. There it is. The burn mark. Mr. Edgeworth, for bringing evil to justice before the eyes of the goddess, you have my thanks. No, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. Excelsius Winter, in the name of the goddess, I hereby pronounce my verdict. In the matter of the murder of Miss Rosie Ringer, this court finds you guilty. I feel like something else is about to happen, bro. Something else is definitely about to happen. Mr. Edgeworth, I can't thank you enough. You never gave up on me, even when I gave up on myself. That was very kind of you. There's no need to thank me. As a prosecutor, no. As a friend, it was the least I could do. Aw, Edgeworth, stop it. Mr. Edgeworth, rejoice. I've learned that Chairman Winter has been safely delivered to the detention center. The search for the missing auction hammer continues. However, we are talking about Chairman Winter here, so it's highly likely that it's already been destroyed. In addition, there is one other matter I must inform you of. The chairman made a rather strange statement. According to him, the letters were not part of his plan. What? How could that be? He claims that he and Miss Needler found this letter on Miss Ringer's person. And that they found a second letter on Kay's unconscious body. From their contents, the letters seemed to ones of correspondence. So he leapt to the conclusion that they must have been working with each other. It's quite the conclusion to jump to. As he read the letters, that's when he came up with the idea to frame Miss Faraday for Miss Ringer's murder. So he decided to place the victim in a very conspicuous place. Namely, in her left chest pocket. Sounds to me like he's just trying to make an excuse for himself. Yes, I certainly thought the same. Perhaps it was some sort of last-ditch ploy on his part. But it matters not. He will now answer to the goddess. And under her scrutiny, such strategies cannot hope to succeed. He will not escape justice. And with that, one of the duties which I have been entrusted with is complete at last. Judge Gavelle, before you go, can you tell us what you know about how Chairman Winter came to murder Miss Ringer? There's more there. There's more there, isn't there? Yes, I suppose you have earned the right to the whole truth. Miss Ringer once had a lover, a press photographer. He's investigating the underground auctions as a freelance job. But before he could uncover the truth behind the auctions, he was disappeared. So, seeking revenge on Chairman Winter, she made her appearance at the auction. Fortunately for her, her opponent struck first. I see. So that's the story behind this case. While the goddess does not condone acts of wanton vengeance, Miss Ringer's actions have exposed Chairman Winter's crimes at last. So that was your real goal. You were tasked with exposing Excelsius Winter and the corruption at the heart of the committee. Does anyone know what happened to Mr. Winter? I'm afraid I haven't been able to get in touch with him. Do you have any idea why? Probably because I wasn't there for him just now when he needed me most. Oh, I really feel bad for him. Well, don't pity him too much. At least he knows the truth now. And no matter how hard it might be, he'll need to learn to accept it. If he can't, he'll never be able to move on with his life. Trust me, a father's influence isn't easily erased. But in time, he can hopefully try and change his ways. You're right. You've got to be. Can I change too, I wonder? Can I move on with my life? Are you okay, Kay? How's that head feeling? I'm fine. Thank you. I'm so sorry, Kay. You were my patient. I had a responsibility to you, and instead I let them accuse you of... Ouch! Dang right. We ain't just in the business of fixing bodies, Missy. The mind's where it all begins. Oh my god, give her memories back. You're right, Grandma. Speaking of which, how's your memory? It's like, with a little more time, maybe I'll be able to remember some more? Please forgive me, but I had better be on my way. I am to preside over the trial of Fifi Lagarde in a bit. The Bronco Knight case, huh? Who's the defense attorney? Fuck, who do you think? It was supposed to be Miss Ringer, but as she is no longer with us, we are still in the process of finding her replacement. Miss Ringer was to represent Warden Lagarde? And of course, until we find Eustace, there's nobody to act for the prosecution either. In any case, I must take my leave. Wait, please. What about Mr. Edgeworth's badge? What's going to happen to it now? With its chairman under arrest, the committee's activities have been suspended for the time being. So to answer your question, it's complicated. It's all up to the goddess now. But... don't worry about it, Kay. It's a consequence of my own making. And I assure you do not mean to change your mind? Of course not. I chose the path of the truth, and I chose it willingly. With Chairman Winter out of the picture, justice is in the hands of the righteous once more. If you did wish to follow the path of the prosecutor again, Mr. Edgeworth, I would be more than happy to facilitate such a decision. It's very kind of you to offer, but I can't accept your help at this time. I can't ask for my badge back when I'm not even sure if I want it anymore. Ooh. I see. It seems we are destined to continue on different paths, then. Well, I trust you'll keep my badge safe until they converge again. With all I have. In the meantime, I have here a token of the goddess's mercy. You may return this notebook to its rightful owner. This is gonna be the thing that gets her memories back, bro. I know it. I know it. Come on, Kay. Kay's promise notebook. It seems it was due to be sold in the auction. With the name Kay written on its cover, Chairman Winter made the connection immediately and knew who it belonged to. It was the same name as the one in the letters, after all. The letters he claimed to know nothing about? I suppose he insisted he didn't prepare them? Yes, he also had something else to say. Apparently, he thought that Miss Faraday was after her notebook, and that Mr. Ringer was after his life. And that their retrospective goals are what led them to cooperate and infiltrate the auction together. Unfortunately for him, he misread the situation completely. It was all just happenstance. If Kay had known a defense attorney who was also a member of the committee, there's no way she wouldn't have told me. That just isn't like her. Your belief in her is touching. The notebook did become part of the Chairman Winter's cover-up scheme. There's also a treasured possession of Miss Faraday's, which is why I would like for her to have it back, as I am sure would the goddess. Thank you. I pray that it helps her recover her lost memories. Is everything alright? Come on, please. Let this be the time, bruh. Judge Gavel want me to return something important to you. Oh, isn't that image looks familiar? That's where the stupid template comes from, because I always see that fucking Edgeworth template, bruh. That's where this comes from, bruh. Always greet people with a smile, even people you don't know. Never cry in front of strangers. Oh, Daddy, I wrote them all down, Daddy. Yeah, I'm gonna keep all my promises and be a real hero when I grow up, just like you. Oh, wait. I forgot to write one down. The most important promise of all. Promise number 5. Always try your hardest to learn about things you don't understand. I remembered it just how you said it, and now I'll never forget it. Yeah, it's the clown meme image. Always try your hardest to learn about things you don't understand? That's right. I have to try to... Oh, shit. I'm Kay Faraday, the great thief who'll do anything to get her hands on the truth. Second Yatagarasu, an assistant to Mr. Edgeworth. Let's go! Kay, is that really you? Can't say I'm not a little bit embarrassed, but... Yeah, I'm back. I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Edgeworth. You never stopped helping me, even when I was totally lost and couldn't remember anything. Thank goodness. You certainly seem to be back. Okay, so this is the real you, huh? Welcome back. It's so good to know you're better. I can sleep easy now. Now that you found it, don't you dare go losing that memory of yours again, young lady, you hear? Miss Needler, Dr. Hertz, thanks a lot for looking after me. And if you really are better, how about you get out of them damaged hospital duds? Oh yeah, I washed all your clothes for you, here. I thought they were with Detective Gumshoe. He handed them over to us after they came back from the forensics. Did he happen to mention if forensics found anything on the note? I didn't ask. Anyway, never mind that now. Put them on, Kay, I want to see. Wait, what about her bandages? Surely it's not too soon to remove them? Oh, it's probably fine. She may have taken a big old bump to the head, but she wasn't really hurt otherwise. But then, why all the bandages in the first place? Prevention is better than cure. A stitch in time saves 9. Those are just a few of my mottos. Both of which sound painfully annoying practices for your patients. Okay, Kay, transformation time. Aw, at least she's back. Yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. Fits like a stolen glove. That smile suits you better, too. As it always did. Thanks to you, Miss Von Karma. I'm so glad you showed up when you did. I simply came when Scruffy asked me to. Where's Gummy? Gummy! I'm sure he'll be very happy to see that you're back to your old self, too. Speaking of Gummy, where is he? Who knows? Perhaps the well of his devotion ran dry when a certain someone threw away his badge. Detective Gumshoe. Anyway, I have to be going, and I'll be taking those 2 with me. Wait, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen to them? Acting as an accomplice in a murder, forging an autopsy report 18 years ago. Their crimes can't be allowed to go unpunished. But the fact that Excelsius Winter coerced them into cooperating will, of course, be taken into account. Time to kill some motherfuckers. Do it. Don't you worry about us, Kay. As long as Grandma and me are together, we'll be alright. Take care, Kay Faraday, until we meet again. So, Kay. I know you only just got your memory back, but I need to ask you some questions. Sure, ask away. What happened the day you lost your memory? What were you doing? Let's see. Somebody asked me to meet them at Gourd Lake. But I didn't know who it was. So there I was, just looking up at the moon when somebody in a red raincoat started walking towards me. They must have drugged me somehow, because that's when I fell unconscious. What? I'm not sure I followed. Kid was at Gourd Lake looking up at the moon? Anyway, when I came to, I was on the roof of this building. I was in the daze stumbling around up there, and when I saw the person with the red raincoat again, but they were lying on the ground. I was so surprised I stumbled backward. And then I was falling, and everything went dark. When I came to the second time, I couldn't remember anything. The person in the red raincoat, who in the world were they? I'm sure they were walking in midair. Ugh, thinking about it's making my head hurt. Just breathe, Kay. You only just got your memory back. You're still confused. I imagine the root cause of your confusion is... I imagine things are all mixed up in your mind because you were at Gourd Lake one minute and then at the top of the big building the next. Because you saw the moon in both locations, your mind blended your memories of the two together. Huh? But those two are totally different places. I know I was pretty out of it, but I don't think I could have gotten them confused that easily. I believe these things on the roof may have made you more likely to become confused.
Take that!
There are two key similarities between the scene down by Gourd Lake and here on top of the building. Cherry blossoms and food stands. Wait, you're right. Those similarities are what caused your memories of both places to overlap. The person in the red raincoat wasn't walking in midair. They were walking toward you from across the park. But in your blurry memory, that same sight played out over the viewing platform instead. No way. Who steals a great thief's memories, huh? That's just cheating. Even still, this doesn't answer the question of who attacked Kay in the park. Was it the person in the red raincoat she saw? Do you hear that? Sounds like it's coming from up in the storeroom. Come on, let's go take a look. Well, hoo-wee! I smell another scoop in the off. Yo, why are you still here? You're still here? I just said that, bro. Coming from this little gadget here, Mr. Edgeworth. Ugh, this transceiver. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. It's still going. But I'm no good with technology. Come on, you have to pick it up. Fine, I'll do it. Hey, this is Edgeworth. Kay, if you can refrain from answering strange calls for me. Mr. Edgeworth, I presume? I know that voice. Shelly the fucking killer. Shelly the killer. Congratulations on another case solved. Yeah, I can't truly say it's been fully resolved, can you? I'm sure you've noticed by now, but there was a mastermind at work orchestrating the entire incident. Ugh, how do you even know about this case? That's not what's important right now. Let's focus on this certain individual for the time being, shall we? I have indeed been worried been wondering myself if somebody else could have been involved. If not, how were we to explain the piece of evidence that proves so damning to Kay's case? No way, an evil mastermind? But who? Who indeed? Perhaps you could share your thoughts. What is the evidence in question that points to somebody else's involvement? What?
Take that!
The letter Kay supposedly wrote to the victim. Yeah, I don't remember ever writing that. So who did? Who would prepare such a thing? I know I'm not the only one who would like to know. And how do we know it wasn't you? Now why would I do such a thing like that, I believe the truth can only fully come to light in a court of law. But since you've had your badge revoked, that is no longer an option. So how will it all end? I, for one, will be watching from the sidelines with interest. He even knows about my badge? Oh, and one last thing. I do hope you won't betray my trust in you. Now I bid you farewell. What the heck did he mean by the case hasn't been fully resolved? Why is he so interested in us anyways? Ugh, everything's just one giant ball of mysteries. Seems we've only scratched the surface of this case. But even without my badge, I'm going to carry on doing what I can. However this ends, one thing's for certain. Come what may, I will expose the truth. Miles. Good fucking case, Doug. Alright. Alright.